दुरात्मनः हृद्विरुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्य एव देहस्य पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यः मे अक्षोहिणीः हताः बहभ्यो मे क्षोहिणीर्हताः अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता ओ मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानम् हृदि रुद्धं दुरात्मनः पारख्यस्यैव देहस्य बहभ्यो मे क्षौहिणीर्हता Synonyms अहो ओ मे my पश्यता जसी अज्ञानम ignorance हृदि in the heart ruddham situated in duratmanah of the sinful parakyasya meant for others eva certainly dehasya of the body bahvyah many may by me akshohinihi combination of military phalanxes hataha killed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. King Yudhishthira said, O my lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men. Translation with repetition. King Yudhishthira said, O my lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A solid phalanx of 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, 109,650 infantry, and 65,600 cavalry is called an Akshohini, and many Akshohinis were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Maharaj Yudhishthir, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a huge number of living beings, because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. This body is after all meant for others. While there is life in the body, it is meant for the service of others. And when it is dead, it is meant to be eaten by dogs and jackals or maggots. He is sorry because for such temporary body, such a huge massacre was committed. Thus ends the wonderful transcendental Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Happy to be back amongst you, and happy to have one more service of this wonderful reading of Srimad Bhagavatam and discussing something from this on an auspicious day like Ekadashi today. So in this part of Bhagavatam, we have seen Kunti Maharani has offered her wonderful prayers, and after that we saw the reaction of Lord Krishna. Mandam jahasa vaikuntho. Mandam jahasa vaikuntho mohayan niva mayaya. Right. So the Lord smiled, and the mild smile of the Lord, Mandam jahasa vaikuntho, is actually the highest glory of life. By our service, by our prayers, by whatever we do, if we can please the Lord, Mandam jahasa vaikuntho mohayan niva mayaya. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic powers. The Lord has a lot of mystic powers, but his smile is also as enchanting as his powers, that we saw before. And now Bhagavatam takes a turn where we see this confusion in the heart of Yudhishthir Maharaj, and very beautiful verse. Actually, what we are from outside and what we are from inside, there could be a lot of difference. Right? Sometimes we want people to recognize us by something that we are doing externally. But internally, in our heart, something else might be going on, which we don't want to expose to people. We might have some jealousy, enviousness towards another person, very bitter feelings. But superficially, externally, we show as if everything is fine. But we may fool the whole world But the Lord who's seated in our heart as Paramatma knows each and every feeling of ours. So here we are seeing a beautiful verse where we can see the inside, or what is going on inside Yudhishthir Maharaj's heart very beautifully. What he's saying, Aho me pashyata jnanam hridiruddham duratmanah parakyasya iva dehasya bhabyo me kshohinir hataha. Aho, alas, alas. Aho me pashyata jnanam. Look at my foolishness. Ajnanam is my ignorance. Aho me pashyata jnanam hridi ruddham duratmana. Actually, I am a duratma. There are two words which are used in Bhagavad Gita, Mahatma and Duratma. Why he is saying Duratma? The translation of Duratma is of the one who is sinful. The word sinful is a very important thing. Actually, if you ask anybody in this world, do you think you are a sinful man? Nobody will say I am a sinful man. But he's Yudhishthir Maharaj, who's Dharmaraj, whose embodiment of religion. He's telling, Hridi Ruddham Duratmana, how sinful I am. Why? Parakyasya iva dehasya. The body which doesn't belong to me. Parakyasya iva. Parakyasya iva, Prabhupada translates as meant for others. Bahabhyo me kshoiner hata. So, if you carefully pay attention, there are three words that we will pay attention in this class. One is Ajnanam, which is translated by Prabhupada as ignorance. Then the other one is Duratmanaha, which is sinful. And Parakyasya. Parakyasya eva. It doesn't belong to us. Doesn't belong to us. If these three things we understand, we will understand what is going on in Yudhishthir Maharaj's life and what is he trying to say. Very beautiful verse. So to give you some context and build what is this beautiful thing which Bhagavatam is talking about, I have to give you some context. Few days back, and as all of you know, I was in India. I met somebody who was an NRI, who's settled in I think Dallas or Florida, but had come for some treatment over there in India. And I met him, so he saw that I was wearing a saffron dress. So he comes to me. I've also read Bhagavad Gita. Very good, very nice. Good for you. So then he asked me, have you read Bhagavad Gita? To me. What do you think? So, no, you are from ISKCON, looks like. You might have read. I said, yeah, a little bit here and there. Then I asked him, which book have you read of Bhagavad Gita? So he looked at me and he, with some kind of smirk on his face, Bhagavad Gita is actually part of Mahabharata. So I am not reading Bhagavad Gita actually. I am reading Mahabharata. Said, wow, great, good. So then I asked him, okay, who's the author of the book Mahabharata that you are reading? Which book you are reading? You see, Swamiji, you all have a lot of time, right? So you can read. You can read this edition, that version, this version. We are very busy. Right? I have got family, children, all these things. Instead of reading Bhagavad Gita as a Mahabharata, I'm actually watching the serial Mahabharata by B.R. Chopra. Very good, great. And he's telling, I have read Bhagavad Gita to me. Okay, what is he, ultimately what is he doing is watching Mahabharata. You see how, in our mind, what all concoctions we have. We think we know Bhagavad Gita just by watching a serial, which is made for, of course, there may be some spiritual motive behind making that serial, but ultimately it is a serial. You may have a good time, you may enjoy it, but you can never become Krishna conscious by watching that Mahabharata. And very importantly, okay, how many of you have watched that serial Mahabharata by B.R. Chopra? Okay. How many of you have watched any other versions of Mahabharata which has come after that? There's so many of you. So if you see in Mahabharata, usually this character Yudhishthir, how is he portrayed? Yudhishthir means some bhola bhala sa ek hoga admi. He'll not have some power. He's a truthful man. He's a religious person. So they don't show him like a very powerful man, or he's somebody like he's a very simple guy. One person is Yudhishthir. But unfortunately, people who don't know what really Mahabharata is and what is the meaning of the word Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir means someone who is actually fixed in the battlefield. Yuddhe sthiram. He's not some coward. He's not some mild person. He's not some, he's not some weak person who's afraid of fighting or anything of that sort. He's a very powerful man. Okay, just a trivia. I want to build the context because this verse, if you see, Prabhupada is genius. There's no doubt about it. And if you have to read go back and hear the class that Prabhupada has given, wonderful class. Even this purport that he has written, very powerful. But to really extract everything that is there in this, we need to have that context, and that context helps. So Yudhishthir, anybody knows one trivia? Anything about his chariot? Do you know? Great, amazing. How do you know this? His chariot always remains above the ground. It doesn't touch. Maybe some little above the ground. And that means, he is a very powerful Kshatriya. The Kshatriyatva is deeply there inside him. He fights very valiantly. He's a very valorous fighter. So this Yudhishthir Maharaj, when he was fighting in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, one occasion where the chariot touched the ground. You know what it is? Actually, okay, before I go there, I'll tell you what it is. These names that those days people had, they have a very special significance. Like we know Bhima. Bhima had a huge, voracious eating power. Bhima Karma Brikodara. Brikodara means his Jatragni is so powerful, it can digest anything. He is always ready to eat. Unlimited desire for eating. There's that story in Mahabharata, right? The same that because that person, he was having some conversation. Anyway, so that story where they were in this forest where Bhima was supposed to kill one demon, and they sent one cart full of food items for that demon. Bhima was not worried about killing or scared of the demon or anything. He was happy that he's getting that cart full of the food, and he was happily eating all of those. So by the time he reached the place where the demon was there, the cart was empty. Something, 1 or 2 bananas, maybe something was there. And the demon, who was anyway hungry, looking at this man, his audacity, that he has finished the whole cart full of food items and happily sitting with 1 banana or something, was very angry. Right? But Bhima killed him ultimately, right? So, but the point is, Bhima was having that unsatiated hunger. Bhima Karma Brikodara. Similarly, Yudhishthir is a very powerful fighter. But there was this one occasion where his chariot, which never touches the ground, touched. And this was the occasion where his guru, Dronacharya, was supposed to be killed. And Krishna made this plan and told Yudhishthir that you have to lie. So there was an elephant by name Aswathama, which was killed by Bhima. Bhima had 10,000 elephant strength. So killing one elephant is nothing. It's like some mosquito, tuck, and it is gone. So something like that. So one Aswathama was killed by Bhima. Now if this has to be communicated to Dronacharya, imagine, this is given the description of one Aksohini is given here. What all is there in that? Some 21,870 chariots, 21,870 elephants, and they will not keep quiet in a battlefield, and they'll just, okay, let's go and fight silently. Oh, you'll be huge uproar. There'll be a lot of sound, lot of this thing, tumultuous sound. In that, if this has to be communicated to Dronacharya, then, they had made a plan. So once Aswathama is killed, the elephant, all this Pandava's side, they'll make a noise that Aswathama is killed, Aswathama is killed. But ultimately, Dronacharya will verify this with Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir never lies. So what did Yudhishthir Maharaj say? Prabhupada writes this in various places. He says, Aswathama iti me hata. He says very like, Aswathama iti me. There is someone called Aswathama. Aswathama iti me hata. Naruva Gunjarava. The next line he is not saying loudly. Naruva Gunjarava. When it could be a man, it could be an elephant. So the moment when Dronacharya saw that Bhima was having one mess in his hand which is stained with blood, splashes of blood, and then first line was very loud, clear, Aswathama iti me hata. Naroba Kunjaraba. So actually Krishna had a plan where he thought if in case Yudhishthir doesn't speak, then he'll make loud tumultuous sound or something, and then that second line anyway is not heard and it will happen. But anyway he said Naroba Kunjareba. It could be a man, could be an elephant. The moment Dronacharya hears this, keeps all his weapons, sits down. Drashtadimna comes and kills him. Very interestingly, people who observe from outside, they say that the chariot was touching the ground in this occasion because Yudhishthir was party to the sin of killing Dronacharya. Because he was bad. He told a lie. But our Vaishnava Acharyas give another perspective. They say that because Yudhishthir Maharaj didn't lie properly, hence the chariot touched. Point is, when Krishna is present and Krishna is telling that to be done, actually no other consideration is important. But this is a very subtle point to understand this. And what exactly is sin? And why a person commits sin? As this verse is saying, Duratmanaha. It is the root cause of the sin is Ajnanam, ignorance. What is the verse that we had in Kunti Maharani's prayer? Bhavesmin klishya mananam. Bhavesmin klishya mananam. Abidya kama karma bhi. Shravana smarana arhani karishya niti kechana. Bhavesmin klishya. This material world is full of difficulties, miseries. Bhavesmin klishyama. It's a terrible place. Avidya kama karma bhi. Why we are experiencing this miseries, this terrible thing? Avidya, because of ignorance. Ignorance of who we are, what we want to do, what is our constitutional position, what am I supposed to... No idea, ignorance. And because of that ignorance, there is desire inside our heart. Avidya leads to kama. So many desires. And because of the so many desires, I am trying to fulfill karma. Avidya kama karma bhi. And that karma is entangling me, binding me in this material world. Taking this, episode of Mahabharata little further and bringing that, the context little more stronger. There are two more episodes in Mahabharata, which is very, those who do not read or understand and just watch some serial cannot figure out. They will think it is some entertainment, it is some miracle, but they don't get the Krishna conscious perspective. The first one was when Draupadi was disrobed. Right? So when Draupadi was disrobed, she was shouting, help, 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 please protect me, please protect me. Nobody came to her rescue. Actually, it is mentioned Draupadi was during her monthly period time. And it's not a very good this thing for a woman. And she was Ekavastra. She was just wearing one cloth. And the might of Dusasan so potent, he thought in one shot he'll drag the cloth out of Draupadi. But what we know from serial, one corner Krishna will come, one hand will show and chuk, some dress will come and it will go and then everything is okay. But how does that happen? Unlimited cloth. It's not just ending. Actually, it is mentioned Krishna took incarnation as cloth to protect the chastity of Draupadi, Panchali. Then the second episode, which is very interesting, which is another very powerful thing, is the episode of Akshay Patra, right? Where we know Duryodhan, served Durvasa Muni very, very nicely, very obediently. He served him, pleased him. And he was, Durvasa was so pleased with his service that he asked, ask for anything, ask me any benediction. He said, no, you have come and blessed me so nicely. I would like that you go to Pandavas who are remaining in the forest very close by and bless them also. And he told you, go exactly at 2 p.m., between 2 to 4 p.m. Why? Because he knew that the Pandavas will finish their prasadam by 12, by noon, and Draupadi, being an expert grihini, expert married woman, will finish washing everything by 1 o'clock. And he was aware that once the Akshay Patra is cleaned and completely washed, it cannot produce that unlimited food. So you see, okay, let me complete this. So it cannot produce. And then if these people go, Durvasa and with his 10,000 disciples, Durvasa is known for his anger, he'll curse him. The mentality of Duryodhan, who represents actually Kali, is such that he was not happy because he was not seeing the Pandavas unhappy. He knew that Pandavas are suffering, but just because he was not able to see that, actually everything in the palace was good. Naach gana chal raha hai, khana pina ho raha hai. Karna said, why are you unhappy? He said, no, I'm not able to see the Pandavas unhappy, hence I'm unhappy. So he created this plan so that this Pandavas get into this kind of trouble. This is what is the people in Kali Yuga they do. It's a terrible age where people do not have anything good for others. They are just seeing how I can put him in some kind of difficult situations, crush him, climb on top of him to get something, some positions. So this Durvasa Muni reached there and they said, we are all hungry and the pot is washed. But Yudhishthir Maharaj said, don't worry, we will feed you 10,000 or doesn't matter 100,000. We have enough food, we will take care of it. Then Draupadi was in complete distress. Of course, Arjuna, Bhima, Yudhishthir, everybody at that time was remembering Lord Krishna, Vasudeva. Krishna appeared there, lo and behold. And Krishna is asking, Panchali, can you give me some food? I am also hungry. So, already there is a trouble, and then you see another, Krishna is also asking for food. So Draupadi said, no, I can't give you. I mean, it's already washed. That Akshay Patra is washed. There is nothing. Krishna says, no, you go and check. Actually, it is an insult to a woman. If you say that, I've already washed. Nahi, tum dekho usme kuch laga hoga, gandagi. Who will take this nicely? But Draupadi goes and she finds that one little grain of whatever sag or rice or something, and he brings that and gives it to Krishna. The moment Krishna takes that, all this, Durvasa and everybody, all his 10,000 disciples, their stomach bulged like this, full. Oh, what happened? It's completely filled. Then Yudhishthir Maharaj was also anxious, but he sends Bhima because the time has come and Bhima is running and is going after them. Come, Bhojan is ready, come. They are all running away. Nee. Actually, Durvasa Muni thought, if we go to the place of Yudhishthir Maharaj, who's a religion personified, and we don't eat because he would feed us, he would like us to be satisfied. All our power, all our mystic potency will go. Better we run away from this place. And they ran away. So one side, you see the mentality of Duryodhan, who's plotting and making this plan so that this Yudhishthir and all will put into a difficulty. Another side in Mahabharata, which is explained about the mentality of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj is talking to his brothers and Draupadi and Kunti, saying that, we are having such a wonderful time during this exile. Why? When we are in the palace, there will be always some kind of management things. Either there is kalaha is quarrel, or there is sandhi is some kind of truce, or there is vigraha, where you have to do some diplomacy and do some things, and we are always busy. In that busy schedule, hardly we get some time to hear from someone like Sandipani Muni or something we hear here and there. That's what our life is. But look at our good fortune here during this forest, when we are in forest. 4 or 5 sages we are able to see and meet every day. How nice this is. There is no this management thing. So what I am trying to say is, it is a matter of perception in life. Spiritually advanced person, in whatever situation they are in, they'll be very satisfied. And they see things always, there is Krishna's hand, and they'll be completely satisfied. Whereas the materially who's a materially conscious person, he'll be always dissatisfied. He'll always have some worries. Even if he's in the best of the, in the happiest of the places, he'll find faults. He'll have something. He'll be disturbed, agitated inside. True. Sat. Somebody sneezing is actually a fact. So this matter of perception is a very important thing. Here, what Yudhishthir Maharaj is telling, Aho me pashyata jnanam. Look at my ignorance. Because of my ignorance, Hridi Ruddham Duratmana. I did such a sinful, terrible act of killing so many people. Parakyashya dehasya. For what? For this body which doesn't even belong to me. It's a very interesting thing. Pay attention. All of us, we have heard that we are not this body, we are spirit soul. Right? How many of us are convinced about it? Mild smile by Manisha. Not easy, but very powerful. It's the most striking thing that you can get it from this verse. Very powerful thing. How many of you have got folios in your computer? Folio is a database which has got all Prabhupada's lectures, conversation. It has got everything like, letters, everything that Prabhupada has written is there. It's a database of that. If you don't have, you can download and you can install it. In that folio, there is a very nice drama which is there. Like, there are scripts we are also planning a drama. Some of us are part of it. And we are trying to rehearse and do something. Like that, there is a script which is given of a very beautiful, powerful drama. We'll take some example from our people who are sitting here. Okay, let's say Bala. Okay, let's make Bala is our main hero. Bala is a family man, of course. He's got 2 children, and then he's got his wife. Has a plan in his life. At the age of 60, he will retire. Okay, that most people think like that, right? Maybe nowadays, the age has reduced. Probably, I think maybe 45, 50, I'll retire. And when I will retire, I should have enough money for my children to get married. Then I'll go for vacation, Italy, Switzerland, Europe, and some other place. I'll have so much of savings at that time that I'll go on this vacation. So then Bala goes to a bank because he has to invest some money for his future. And he goes to the bank. So whom should we make another character? Let's say we'll take our, sorry, what is your name? I'm forgetting, yeah. Raj. Rajendra Seku. So Rajendra Seku is the bank manager. Okay, this is just fictional, don't take it personally. Rajendra Seku is sitting in the bank nicely. So Bala comes and then Bala explains his future plan that I want to do this, I want to have retirement at 60, this, that, and everything he shares it with Raj. Raj said, looking at your plan that you have in mind, I think you should invest weekly $50. If you invest weekly $50, it will take care of it. When the time of your retirement, everything will be taken care, everything will be settled. So Bala very diligently follows the advice and he says, I'll take care, I'll invest in this thing, I'll do this, mutual stock, this, that, everything. You don't have to worry about it. You just give $50 every week, rest is my responsibility. So he agrees and then he goes back and every week he's giving $50. These are those days when computer was not there, technology was not so advanced. Used to have those passbook. So you go to the bank, you deposit it, so they will write it in that $50 on this day. Then next week again $50. So like that the entries were there. So time passed by and Bala's wife somehow became a little ill. So Bala thought, now this $50 is not enough because I have to take some money for her treatment. I should do some overtime. And he started doing overtime and got some more money. Some money went for the treatment of his wife and some still little more money was going and getting deposited. And time passed by. And it came 60 years, the time for his retirement. And this was probably in another 3 or 4 days, the money was supposed to get matured. He's supposed to take all those money, get his children married, he has to go for his vacation. He goes to the bank And he sees Raj is sitting. Raj is also having grey hair. He's old. And hey, Bala, how are you doing? And you're so happy to see Bala. And he says, you know, Bala, actually, I bought a house and I paid the last installment. I'm also retiring. It's a matter of time I'm retiring. And Bala was so happy that my friend, bank manager Raj, has finally, made a house. Final last installment is also over. Good for him. He's retiring. So he says, I'll come after 3 days and I'll take my money. Says, yeah, all the best. Good. Yeah. Bala comes after 3 days. First thing he notices in the bank, Raj is not sitting there. Instead of Raj, there is a young lady who's sitting there. So he was little shocked, and then he asked, where is my friend Raj? So they told that unfortunately what happened, just one day before Raj was walking on the street, there was a very strong heat wave, and because of that he died. It was a big shock. My friend Raj, I knew him so long. I was so happy for him that he has finally purchased his house. Everything is done. Now he is no more. He is dead. It was a big shock for him to digest. Anyways, he says, okay, I have come. Today is the last day. I mean, the day when my money will mature. It will become. I'm supposed to take this money which I have been depositing for such a long time. I have come for that. Can I take that money? And the lady says that in your account there is 0 money. Imagine what will happen, Bala, anybody who's there in that position, you'll feel as if the ground is gone from your below. No money. He says, actually, all these days, the money that you have been depositing, your account number is actually 9035, but it has been going to the account 9033, which belongs to Raj. Raj has been cheating you. He has been taking the money to his account, and there is no money in your account. So hearing this, Bala also has a heart attack and he is no more. That's the story. Why I am narrating this story? Very relevant to this birth that we are having and what Yudhishthir Maharaj is saying. Parakyaseva dehasya. This body on which we invest so much, we think this is the thing that I have to take care, doesn't belong to us, both materially and spiritually. Very powerful. Everybody in this world is busy taking care of this body nicely. This doesn't belong to us. That is why we are never satisfied. The money is going to a wrong bank account. Whole life it goes in that. How? Let us see materially. Materially, when we are born to our parents. The ingredients which is needed for our body comes from them. And then, we are born, but you may say that, well, when I'm born, my parents are so happy they distribute pedas to everybody. जो भी आपके साउथ इंडिया में कुछ और होगा, लड्डू, नॉर्थ इंडिया में पेड़ा देते हैं. Then how can you say that the body doesn't belong to me? You see, the child, even if the small child, when he's very small, that time my parents say, don't go there, sit here, don't play with that. So, the body belongs to the parents. So when you are born or when you are a child, the body belongs to the parents. When you grow up, the body belongs to your child or your children and your wife. They want, I have to go there, I have to take me, drop me here, bring me there, go this, do this. Wife wants this thing, husband wants, for wife, husband, for husband, wife. But it belongs to somebody else. And finally, when death comes, still the body doesn't belong to us. If you belong to the Hindu, then it is burnt, and the ashes, the son will say, it is my property. This belongs to me. I will go and do the final whatever this thing, I have to dispose it of somewhere. Or if you belong to some other tradition, then the bodies are thrown so that jackals and some eagles can come and eat. Materially, the body doesn't belong to us. The whole life we live with this illusion because of ajnana. This is my body, I take care of it so nicely, I have to spend time. It doesn't belong to us. What about spiritually? Okay, materially you said we got that. What about spiritually? Spiritually also it doesn't belong to us. How? Bhagavad Gita gives two very solid practical examples. Two nice examples which proves this, that it doesn't belong to us. What is it? The first one comes in the 7th chapter. Anybody knows the verse? Can think of? The verse is Bhumirapo Nalavayu Kham Manabuddhirevacha Ahankara Itiyam me Bhinna Prakritirashtadha. Okay, you said that the ingredients is coming from your parents, but actually the body, it is made up of these 5 gross elements: Bhumi, Apo, Anala, Vayu, or earth, water, air, fire and ether. Does this belong to your parents? No, these are all natural material elements. So this is Bhinna Prakritirashtadha. These are energies of the Lord. By that this body is made up of. And Kham Manabuddhirevacha Ahankara. And the Manabuddhi Ahankara also is there. This is the first thing which Krishna says. Second thing, where it is mentioned that this body doesn't belong to us, in the 13th chapter. 13th chapter of Bhagavad Gita gives a very powerful example. Nowadays, most of the countries have got democracy. But earlier days, or those countries where there used to be communism, or earlier days of India, there could be a land which is allotted to one person based on his needs. Maybe he has got 10 members, you've got 5 members, he has got 2 members. Depending upon that, some land is allotted. But the owner of the land is actually the government. But you could be the occupier by, just that land is occupied by someone. So there is a occupier, but there is an owner. There is a difference. Do you see that? So like that, Krishna says there is a kshetragya. Kshetragya is the knower of the body. But there is one kshetragya who is the soul, who is there in the body. But there is another kshetragya who knows everything what is going on in our body. Everything. We put the food in our mouth, and what happens inside we have no idea. Those complicated things, how the digestion happens, we have no idea. But Krishna as Paramatma knows everything what is going on in our this thing. So if materially the body doesn't belong to us, if spiritually also this body doesn't belong to us, then whom does this body belong to? Jivera Swarupaya Nitya Krishna Das. Right? Actually we are part and parcel of the Lord. Imagine our Bhaktajay is working hard to have this garden up and running. Okay, we have nice flowers will come up someday. We will have nice vegetables and fruits growing there. Somebody comes and says, "This is mine. I'll take this." Bhaktajay will be happy and he'll look at, "Oh yes, I'm a devotee. You can take whatever you want. Take this, take that." Will he say that, or will he give him a tight slap, or will he say, "This belongs to me, Baba. I have worked hard for this." Like that, the body belongs to Krishna. When we engage it in His service, this is the best use. Both materially makes sense, spiritually also it makes sense. But because of ajnanam, parakyasya, and so this, look at the inside consciousness of Yudhishthir Maharaj. He's telling, what is the use? So much of sinful activities I committed for this body which doesn't belong to me because of my ignorance. You see the point? And there is a very nice, in the purport, there is a very nice point which Prabhupada says, and probably we will take that as one of the last things. Prabhupada is writing, Maharaj Yudhishthir, as the most pious king of the world, takes for himself the responsibility for killing such a huge number of living beings because the battle was fought to reinstate him on the throne. So Maharaj Yudhishthir, as the most pious king of the world, you see, because Maharaj Yudhishthir always had the concern that he is the most pious, he is a religion personified, he is worried about all these things. He is not seeing that this is happening because of Krishna's direction. You see, there is a verse which comes in Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna says, Shreyam Bhoktum Apiha, where the second chapter is that verse. Shreyam Bhoktum Apiha, Vaishyam Apiha Loke. Basically, Arjuna was telling, I can beg and live. Actually, how much my belly needs? Very little. And that I can get by begging. But Krishna says, no, you Yadricha Chopapanna. This is not, don't think that this battle is not imposed by me. It is a battle which is sought after. I mean, you have been living your life for this battle, and this battle is now imminent. It is It is coming by the providence, by the will of the providence. I have not instigated. You must fight. Actually, you see, if you read Bhagavad Gita very carefully, very clearly, very systematically, you'll see that the Brahmanas, they have their prescribed duties. The Kshatriyas, they have their prescribed duties. The Vaishyas, they have their prescribed duties, and they should never get out of that prescribed duties. For Brahmana, the prescribed duties, they should they should beg, and whatever money they are getting, they should live with that. They are always worried if from their life tapa or the austerity is taken away. The next on the next rung on the ladder is Kshatriyas, who are supposed to fight, and for them the worst fear is if they have to beg. But Arjuna is willing to take that position of begging. Then comes the Vaishyas. Very interestingly, I met one person there only. Actually, I don't know, how many of you, so if you observe life very carefully, if your intention in life is to learn things, these are not some theory which you have to read and intellectualize and go back. The more you understand, the more you see people's behavior, the more you see how people are ignorantly entangled in this material world, and how we are so fortunate, we are so grateful that we have come in touch with Srila Prabhupada. And this is only possible if somebody reads carefully and observes that also practically in people's lives. Just all around, even what we are doing, and how we are conducting, and how others are conducting. So these Vaishyas, actually, to find a true Vaishya, is there any Vaishya, anybody who considers, okay. Actually, Prabhupada says there is no real Vaishya now. Because the Vaishya is one who makes money when the market is going down, also makes money when the market is going up. Not like, market is going up and then, market is going down, now what to do some research and this thing, read here and there. He is not a Vaishya. This is what Prabhupada says. So I met one person, he said, he's a businessman. And he said, my father told me that he had a desire to go to Mumbai, and he wanted to do something on his own. So his father told that if you go to Mumbai, you will never succeed in your life. The moment he heard this from his father, he said, मैं तो जाके ही रहूँगा, कुछ भी हो जाए मैं दिखाऊँगा मेरे बाप को कि मैं successful बनूँगा उस बॉम्बे जाके. So he didn't say that explicitly to his father, but within his this thing, he was thinking he will go there. So then, his father predicted, he went there and he did 14 different businesses, and he failed in every single one of them. So then, after failure in 14 businesses, 14 different businesses, and of course, his father told that you have seen only this cloth business that I have. You will do this cloth business only in Mumbai. So the second this thing that he had inside him is, kuch bhi karunga, cloth business to nahi karunga, right? And then 14 businesses he failed. Then somebody told him that you go to this Mumbra Devi, the main deity in Mumbai, and he goes there, prays to Mumbra Devi, and comes out of the temple. Somebody gives him a business idea, and that business idea clicked, and he became a millionaire now. It's the actual thing. But that's the spirit of Vaishyas. So the Vaishyas cannot accept loss and profit. He was telling me that, his father, he learned it from his father, that if you get, so 1 rupee used to be 16 anna in those days. So he said, my father, if I'm investing 1 rupee, and if I'm getting 4 anna profit, then it's a loss. How is it possible? You're getting 4 anna profit. How can it be loss? No, if I'm putting 16 annas, I should get 16 annas in return. If it is not, the 12 annas is actually loss. His mentality is like that. He was telling, that's what he was sharing with me. Anyway, the point is, the Vaishyas, for them, if they see loss in profit, it's a big loss. So here, actually, Yudhishthir Maharaj, like, Arjuna, when he was asked by Krishna, Arjuna understood that position, understood the philosophy, and said, Karishya Vachanam Tava. That is why Arjuna is considered to be a higher grade of devotee compared to Yudhishthir Maharaj. He became a deserving candidate to hear Bhagavad Gita, not Yudhishthir. There are gradation of devotees, like for example the gopis who are considered to be the topmost devotee. Krishna says, I have nothing to offer to you because of your unconditional devotion to me. Anyabhilasita sunyam. That perfect example of that is when Krishna had this headache. And Krishna had this headache, and then they said, it's Krishna's plan only. Krishna only told, if any devotee gives me the dust of his feet, then the headache will be gone. And they went and asked everybody. Nobody was prepared to do this. Narad Muni goes and finally asks this gopis, without blinking even an eyelid, if Krishna wants, it doesn't matter, you please take, we'll scrape our feet, whatever dust is coming, you take it. So then Narad Muni said, do you know the consequence of this? You have to suffer for millions of births in the hell because of this, because you're putting your feet on Krishna. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That is the highest grade of devotee. So interestingly, these are all some of the very powerful points which Prabhupada brings. And unfortunately, we don't pay attention to this, and we are busy in our own life where, we're caught up in this. Because of this ignorance, we have no idea. So a pure devotee like Prabhupada, when we read his purports nicely, pay attention, we hear the Bhagavatam class with sincerity, great transformation happens in our heart. Great transformation. Nashta prayesu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by serving the pure devotee of the Lord, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. In chemistry, we used to have something called irreversible reaction. You mix two elements, you get a product, you cannot reverse it. Irrevocable fact. When you hear Bhagavatam with attention, with a proper mood, you may be physically sitting, maybe your mind is somewhere else. That is not proper hearing. When you hear the Bhagavatam with proper attention, with a proper mood, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, Uttama Shloka, Bhagavati Uttama Shloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Before we close our time completely, the class for today, I wanted to share one very beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, and with that we will end today's class. So whatever we saw, that 2-3 words that I was talking about, Ajnana, then there is Duratma, which is sinful life, and Parakyasya, this body doesn't belong to us. This sums up, this verse that I am going to speak, this sums up what I just spoke. Okay, this is Durgame pathime andhasya skhalat pada gater muhuhu so kripa yasti danena santa santu avalambanam. Very powerful verse. If you remember this one verse, Durgame pathime andhasya. Durgama is the path is, when you're traversing this path of spiritual life, it's a very difficult path, Durgama, because we always have doubts, we are so conditioned, we are having ignorance, we don't have enough interest in spiritual life, and that consciousness, which is so volatile, because we are not very strict with our sadhana, we're not very good with our hearing. All kinds of things are going on in our heart. So it makes the path very difficult. Durgame pathime andhasya. Imagine if the path is filled with pebbles, stones, and then there are some thorns, and then there are some other things which are filled with that road, and you are blind. Somebody has blindfolded. Andhasya. You are not able to see anything. Durgame pathime andhasya skhalat pada gater muhu. And not just that, the road is so slippery. Every moment I'm falling down. Skhalat pada gater muhu. This is our position. Durgame pathime andhasya skhalat pada gater muhu so kripa yasti danena santa santu avalambanam. So kripa yasti danena. Yasti is a stick. But there are all these Vaishnavas, there are all this spiritual master who sees our position and they extend the stick to us. Somehow when we are falling down from that path which is so difficult, we are blind, somehow we should catch. That is the only hope. So kripayasti danena santa santu avalambanam. So the translation is, I am blind. My path is very difficult. I am blind, and my feet are slipping again and again. Therefore, may the saints help me by granting me the stick of their mercy as my support. Actually, we should constantly ask for mercy of our spiritual master and the deities. Constantly. Because we are foolish, we are completely ignorant, we are blind, we don't see these things. Only by their mercy, when that mercy falls, comes into our heart, that the inner eyes becomes opened. And when that inner eyes become opened, we see things differently. There is a very beautiful prayer by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, which is where he says, Manasa deha geho joki chumoro, arpilu tuapade nanda kishore. In that there is one line which comes, Kita janma ho jatha tua das, bahirmukha brahma janme nahi as. Even if I become a worm in the stool, kita janma ho jatha tua das. But if I'm a worm in the stool of a Vaishnava, it's a great fortune. But I don't want to become bahirmukha brahma janme nahi as. Bahirmukha means externally. We are always looking at some outside things. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Not inner, what is going on inside our heart. That bahirmukha is a very powerful word. One should meditate on that. People, if they are busy looking at external things, अरे उसको दे दिया position, उसको ये service मिल गया, ये हो गया, मैं दिखाने के लिए हूँ. These are all bahirmukha. Bahirmukha Brahma janme nahi as. I don't want to become, even if it is a position of Brahma, but if it is bahirmukha, I don't want that. Kita janma ho jathatva das, bahirmukha Brahma janme nahi as. So these are some of the important points from this from this verse. If anybody has any questions or comments. Maybe, okay. There's something else I can share if you don't have any questions in comments. Yes. So Yudhishthir Maharaj, this hesitation or this idea that I am a pious king, I must always follow the path of religion, puts him on a lower grade because it is still not anyabhilasita sunyam. Whereas Arjuna, of course, Arjuna was bewildered at the beginning, but then when he understood Bhagavad Gita, karishya vachanam tava. I mean, and then 10th chapter also he says, Janmam vadasi Keshava. What is that verse? 10th chapter. Whatever you are saying, I am accepting as it as truth. These two things put him on a higher platform. There is no reservation. It's not about right, wrong. It's not about what people will say. It's Krishna's instruction and I'm doing it. So he's at a higher grade. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's a good question. So, when Krishna does something, he tries to accomplish many things in one action. The reason why Yudhishthira is bewildered, even the same Krishna who spoke Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna is present and trying to convince him. Yudhishthira is not getting convinced because inside the Paramatma is telling Yudhishthira not to get convinced. The reason behind this, which we will see in the next chapter, he wants to glorify his another devotee, Bhismadev, who is lying on the deathbed. So he will take all of them, the Pandavas, including Yudhishthir Maharaj, and he will allow them to hear from Bhismadev. And Bhismadev's words will cut the illusion of Yudhishthir Maharaj. Vishnu Sahasranam. So Bhagavatam gives the essence of that in the form of prayers of Bhismadev. Amazing prayers. So wonderful. Actually, we are all, this battle of Kurukshetra, of course, it is actually there, a physical field, physical place where this battle happened. But that is not the only this thing. Like, it's not like it is only applicable to Arjuna. Actually, we all, each one of us in our life also have a battle of Kurukshetra. We have our Dronacharyas whom we don't want to kill. We have our Bhismas whom we don't want to touch. We have our Duryodhanas and Dusasanas in life whom we want to crush. This battle is going on. We have to fight this. And to fight this battle, this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita will give us that clarity. It'll remove that nescience completely, that ignorance. Otherwise, it's a very bewildering place. Very bewildering place. So, if we have the mentality of Arjuna in receiving the knowledge, then there will be clarity which will prevail in life. But usually we don't have that. We are not so open to receiving the knowledge of Krishna without putting our brain or intelligence, which is always faulty. So that is why the mercy of the Guru helps us to accept this knowledge properly and apply it in our lives. I'll take one last this thing and we will close with this. It's a very beautiful verse which comes in the prayers of Brahma, and it represents all of us, because Brahma, when he got bewildered, Brahma being having 4 heads and he's the creator, and he got bewildered looking at Krishna as a cowherd boy, and playing with his other cowherd boys and eating that curd rice. He thought, how this can be the Supreme Personality of Godhead? And he stole those cowherd boys and the cows, and then he realized his mistake, and then he comes back and offers his prayers. It's a very powerful prayer. How many of you have read this Brahma's prayers in 10th canto, 14th chapter? Very beautiful prayers. Very, very powerful. Actually, we know about that Tatte anukampam susamikshmana bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridbhag babubhir vidadhan namaste jiveta mukti pade sadaya bhag. That verse is a very powerful and very important verse. But I prefer this verse, which expresses Brahma's inner consciousness and tells us how we should offer this prayer which Brahma is offering. Brahma did just one mistake. We do this mistake every day. Every moment, every second, every breath of our life, we do this mistake. So what is Brahma's prayer? Atha kshamas চ্युत me rajo bhubo hi ajanatas tvat prithagisamaninaha ajava lepana andhatamo andha chakshusha esho anukampayo mai nathavaniti. Atha kshama, he is asking for forgiveness. Atha kshama, please forgive me. And why is he asking for Atah Kshama Achyuta? Why is he asking forgiveness, and what confidence he has that Krishna will forgive? Achyuta, because Krishna never falls. He never deviates from his promise. Atah Kshama Achyuta me Rajo Bhubo. Actually, I am born in the mode of passion. Because being born in the mode of passion, I consider myself to be independent. I consider myself to be controller. I consider myself to be enjoyer. Atah kshamasva achyuta me rajo bhuvo hi ajanatas, I am ignorant. Tvat prithagesha manina, I am considering myself to be separate from you, and I am considering that I am Isha, I am a controller, I can do anything, I don't need Krishna, I can enjoy independently. This is actually an Asuric mentality. The Asuras always think that I have got the power by my own efforts. I am powerful by my own this thing, and they're trying to be independent of Krishna. And this is the sin, actually, the biggest sin. Hi ajanatas tvat prithagishamaninaha ajava lepanandha tamo andha chakshusha esho anukampayo mai nathavaniti. The translation of this is, O infallible Lord, kindly excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion, and I am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller, independent of your lordship. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. Actually, we should always remember this. These prayers, the mood of Brahma is so nice. Actually, if you go through this, asking for forgiveness. I am just a simple, tiny soul, but because I am born in this mode of passion, I am andha. I'm blind because of the darkness of ignorance. I don't know. I have done this mistake, and I'm thinking I'm independent. I'm a controller. Please forgive me, because I deserve your worth. I'm your servant, and therefore I am worthy of your compassion. So we'll stop here. Actually, if you read Bhagavatam properly, with a good mood, with the right mood, the purports of Srila Prabhupada are just so amazing, so hope-giving, and they give us so much of strength, spiritual strength. Tell us how to live our life properly. It is not about knowing how many verses, or it is not about showing how much scholarship one has. It's about following and practicing it in our life and experiencing that happiness and experiencing that, which happens by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. So we'll stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.